This is NNC, Neural Newscast, online at nnewscast.com.
Welcome to Neural Newscast Deep Dive. I'm Kara, your technology reporter, joined by Daniel, our space correspondent. Today we're tracing a moment in history, spotlighting a birthday that reshaped a sport, and closing with a curious fact. On this day in 1608, European explorers and settlers were actively mapping and claiming parts of the New World, expanding their foothold in North America and setting the stage for colonial rivalries and settlement patterns that followed.
It's a pivotal inflection point. Mapping wasn't just drawing lines on parchment. It established claims and momentum that fueled those rivalries.
From a tech lens, the tools mattered. Charts, compasses, and early surveying gear turned ambition into coordinates, enabling strategic moves that reshaped the continent.
And the choices about where to plant flags weren't random. They set migration paths and power corridors with long-term consequences for control and influence.
Those first maps became templates for infrastructure, trade routes, and resource claims, paper sketches turning into real-world advantage.
Once advantages stacked up, competition among European powers intensified, steering much of North America's colonial trajectory.
It's striking how one season of exploration can echo for generations, shaping everything from borders to cultural exchange.
That expansion set off a chain reaction. Beyond politics, it influenced how communities formed and how societies took root.
Which is why that simple 1608 snapshot feels so consequential. Those explorers and settlers were drafting the blueprint for future conflict and community.
And that blueprint guided where people gathered, how power was projected, and how competition unfolded across the continent.
A compact moment with a long tail, still visible in infrastructure, governance, and modern territorial thinking.
Small acts of mapping and claiming, huge ripples in time. That's the essence of the 1608 moment.
We'll be right back after this short break. Today we celebrate the birthdays of Arnold Palmer, 1929, Stephen Jay Gould, 1941, and Jose Feliciano, 1945.
Arnold Palmer. He's the one you flagged for a deeper look, right? The legendary golfer whose charisma helped transform the sport in the 1960s.
Exactly. Arnold Palmer, the King, is a classic case of sport meeting culture. 7 major championships is the headline, but his influence went far beyond trophies.
He changed the spectator experience too. Palmer's magnetism brought fans out in droves, and golf became a more public, televised spectacle because of him.
From a tech and industry angle, he helped create the modern commercial golf ecosystem, endorsements, signature products, and course design, blurring the line between athlete and brand.
Right. He turned individual charisma into a growth engine for the sport, a ripple effect we still see in how athletes build platforms today.
There are great lesser-known threads, like how his approach to course design and business partnerships influenced golf course architecture and sponsorship models, not just a player, but a strategic thinker about the sport's future.
I hadn't considered the architecture angle, but it tracks. His name on a course or a product carried real weight, shaping where and how people played golf.
And the cultural timing mattered. Television was expanding, and he had the charisma to make golf engaging on air, helping the game find a mass audience in the 60s and beyond.
Parallels with space outreach are hard to miss. Charismatic figures who humanize complex work, pull in public support and funding, accelerating the field.
Absolutely. Personalities can catalyze institutional change. Palmer's legacy is as much about inspiring participation and fandom as it is about competitive excellence.
And even today, that legacy persists. Every time a tournament draws huge, enthusiastic galleries, or a brand builds a lifestyle around golf culture.
Which loops back to how his era reshaped the sport's economics and social profile. A lasting influence on both how golf is played and how it's experienced.
So as we mark his birthday, remember the championships and the charisma, but also the structural changes he set in motion across sport and culture.
Exactly. Arnold Palmer's story shows how skill, personality, and business sense can redefine an entire field, and that legacy still resonates today. Time for a quick pause. We'll explore more when Neural Newscast Deep Dive returns.
Daily news, synthesized and verified. This is Chad Thompson, the founder of Neural Newscast. At Neural Newscast, we're all about making news fast, factual, unbiased, and human-reviewed. Visit neuralnewscast.com for deep dives, special reports, and our full archive of content.
Thanks for staying with us on Neural Newscast Deep Dive. Let's jump into our fact of the day. The smallest country in the world has its own train system.
That's a striking image. Tiny borders, and yet a railway threading through. It upends assumptions about scale and infrastructure.
Exactly. It challenges the idea that trains are only for large nations. Even the smallest country can prioritize a rail link.
From a planning perspective, installing and maintaining a line in such a compact space requires precision and intention.
There's also an identity story here. Having a train system signals civic investment and connectivity.
It suggests they value movement and access, even within minimal geography, which resonates with how we approach transport in constrained environments.
For tech and urban planners, it's a neat example that infrastructure decisions reflect priorities as much as size.
Right. And for those of us who think about systems, railways can be symbolic as much as functional, especially in a place so small.
The fact itself raises smart design questions. How does scale influence choices without changing the core role of transport?
Exactly. Compact does not mean simple, and a train system in the smallest country underscores that complexity. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. For Kara and all of us at Neural Newscast, I'm Daniel. Join us next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Neural Newscast. Stay curious, stay informed, and visit nnewscast.com for more daily news and fascinating stories from history. Neural Newscast combines real voice recordings with synthesized voices to enable prompt production without sacrificing quality. All content is generated using advanced AI algorithms developed by a human and undergoes fact-checking and human review prior to release. While we strive for factual, non-biased reporting and actively work to prevent AI hallucinations, AI-generated content can occasionally contain errors. Listeners are encouraged to verify critical information from trusted sources. For more details on our AI transparency policies, visit nnewscast.com.